This is Charlotte Kendrick from the Faculty Development Committee, and I'm here today to present to you on the general guidelines for Facilitators for All Professions Day in the Student Clinic. David Sibbett said that facilitation is the art of leading people through processes toward agreed-upon objectives in a manner that encourages participation, ownership, and creativity from all involved. Be aware of your facilitation style. Your style will have an impact on the group. If you are active, being enthusiastic and stimulating is helpful, but it can be distracting if you talk too much or offer your own opinions too often. On the other hand, being passive gives the group a feeling of control, but the lack of direction can at times make the group seem aimless. The point being to just be aware that how you are affects the group. Prepare for the 4 stages of group work and be aware that issues may arise at any stage, from defining the purpose and stating it all the way through wrap-up. Be aware of the psychology of groups, even in ad hoc ones. There's pressure to conform, leadership struggles, and the members will take on roles such as leader, joker, or adversary. Remind the group of their common purpose and goals. Help the groups establish ground rules. Is there clear communication between the members? How are they going to make decisions? Has the group established agreed-upon goals? Discuss a conflict resolution process with them. Even though this is a training experience, it mirrors what they may encounter in a clinic or hospital setting. Who is ultimately in charge? Make sure they acknowledge the power differential in the team. Help them separate their position, what do they want, from their interest. Why do they want this? Remind them that the purpose of a medical team is to provide the best care for the patient, and the longer it takes to resolve any issue may result in poor patient care or a patient safety issue. Examine your own communication skills and model active listening skills. Make good eye contact and reflect back what was said. Ask questions to help facilitate the conversation. Ask open-ended and clarifying questions, or ask a group member to provide an example of a statement they have made. Manage the time. If a group member is stuck on an issue, remind them of the need to come to a decision. Help the group decide on a decision-making process, because most often there is not the time to come to a complete consensus. Suggest to them a modified consensus process where everyone agrees on a decision that they can live with, even if it is not their first choice. Be ready and able to handle common problems, such as lack of energy or interest. You may need to increase your own energy or alter your tone. Be ready and able to handle difficult individual behaviors. If someone is dominating the discussion, remind them that there is a time limit and that we need to hear from others. If someone isn't participating, call them by name and ask their thoughts, especially if it is an area they are knowledgeable about. If side conversations are persistent, invite them to share what they are talking about. Be mindful of everybody's body language. It can give you insight to what is going on before it becomes a real issue. For example, if someone is rubbing their nose or has their hand over their mouth, they may be unsure about what is being said. Or neck rubbing may indicate discomfort with what is being said. Arms folded may indicate that they have negative feelings about what is being discussed. Just be aware of their whole body. Be authentic. You are there to help the students lead themselves. Be confident. Students may know more about their areas of study, but you know more about facilitating. Be calm and trustworthy. Be aware of what kind of presence you bring to the situation. If you are authentic, confident, and calm, it will help the students be that way as well. And oh, by the way, you have to do all of this really fast. Refer to Group Facilitation General Guidelines in your packet for more details. And if you have further interest, the resources have been included on the last slide. Thank you.
Thanks for joining me at All Professions Day 1 training. I'm Denise Gaffigan-Bender. Today we're going to look through the slides and the activities so that you'll be fully prepared to participate as a facilitator at All Professions Day 1. We're going to first go through a few housekeeping items, and then I'll talk you through shortened versions of the activities and the case study that you'll explore during All Professions Day 1. A reminder of the location, same as last year, Nicholson Tower, 5th floor. The building is under renovations, so when you enter, go through the old garage entrance if possible. If you enter through the 13th Street entrance, expect to go through construction scaffolding, so be careful, please. Once you've come inside, go to the 5th floor. As we did last year, we are running 2 rooms simultaneously. If you've been assigned to facilitate on teams 1 through 15, please go to room A. If you're assigned to facilitate for teams 16 through 30, please go to room B. Whichever room you're assigned to, please try to arrive 30 minutes early. That will allow you, the facilitator, to be at the table before any of your students arrive so that you can greet them. When you come to the 5th floor, before going to your room, check in at registration and get your name tag. Once you have that, find your table. Your supplies should be on the table, so please just set them out. If anything is missing from your table, come back to the registration desk and we'll help you there. Once you have your supplies set out on the table, please remain at the table so you can welcome students when they arrive. As you begin to get several students at your table, you can use the colored icebreaker cards to encourage them to talk with each other. Let's take a look at our All Professions Day activities. Here's the overview. There's an MC at the front, so you only need to worry about facilitating your table and your group. There'll be a PowerPoint that will provide visual and auditory cues. You have a guidebook at the table with all the information related to the activity, and your job is going to be to assist the students through the activities and then to facilitate a debrief and a deep reflection discussion after each discussion. Remember, we do not want you to function as a content expert. Should there be a question, even if it's medically related, that comes up at the table and they turn to you, turn it back to them, maybe saying, what does the group think? Or how does the group think would be the best way to handle finding an answer to this question? As we look through the next slides, we'll talk through the activities as they will occur in the order that they will occur for All Professions Day. Starts with an overview of our definition. Teams are learning from, with, and about each other, so we want them to be highly interactive. All Professions Day is intended for early career students, although you may have a mix of student levels at your table. It is campus-wide, so we hope that you will have a wide variety of student professions at your table, and the content is based on the IPEC core competencies. We have it for reasons both short-term and long-term. We want to introduce the competencies, make sure they all have a shared language of understanding, and we want to give them a time to practice the competencies together as a group, with a facilitator to answer any questions that might arise. In the long term, we hope the impact of All Professions Day leaves this activity and goes with them into their clinic, into their classrooms, into their laboratories. Our ultimate goal is to improve their effectiveness when they are working as part of an interprofessional team. The entire interprofessional experience that's available on our campus begins with this first year experience, All Professions Day 1 in the fall and All Professions Day 2 in the spring. In year 2, we'll have simulation experiences. In addition, we will have practicum or clinical learning experiences in the community with real patients. We will have a series of electives, some of which have already been developed and are already available to the students. And then finally, a synthesis project for those who wish to have some sort of a capstone experience. This slide here shows you the interprofessional activities and electives that already exist on campus. Please encourage them to watch for advertisements on these and to participate in as many as possible. Those who complete the IPE experience, which is both the mandatory first-year experience and some sort of a second-year experience, are eligible for a transcript notation at graduation and a chance to wear an IPE cord at graduation. Let's go through the agenda together. In your 2-hour session, whether you have one 2-hour session or you stay with us for an entire day and have 4 2-hour sessions, it will begin with an introduction of the competencies. There'll be activities related to roles and responsibilities, activities related to team communication and social styles. There'll be a case study and a group discussion, and then it will wrap up. Let's take a look at the competencies. These definitions will be made available to the students. So we'll flip through them. 2 competencies, roles and responsibilities and communication, are covered at All Professions Day 1. 2 competencies, values and ethics and teams and teamwork, are covered at All Professions Day 2. These are the definitions for them. We do introduce All Professions Day 2 at All Professions Day 1 so that those students who are aware there's 4 competencies don't wonder what happened to the other 2, and so that we begin to get them to put it on their radar and mark it on their calendars that they will have another event with their team, and hopefully, if you're able to rejoin us, with their facilitator. As you address each competency today, and as you do each activity, keep drawing them back to what are the characteristics of a high-functioning team? How do these roles and responsibilities and communication competencies help you become a high-functioning team? And then how will the team identify and engage the necessary members? While many, many professions are present at your team, were they all needed to address every single activity or every single aspect of an activity? We also want them to reflect on the reality that a working team brings professional knowledge and they bring life knowledge to every single experience where they function as a team. So how can a high-functioning team build upon the members' knowledge so that they're able to work effectively and efficiently? Here's the activity we do for roles and responsibilities. It's a chance for them to share who they are and what they do. This activity occurs at the table. Please keep all of your team members at the table. 1 person speaks at a time. We have provided questions for them to answer so that everyone will have shared common information about each profession. We also want them to share contact information. We view this as a learning and a networking activity. Every 2 minutes, the timer will advance. Although they all have a great deal to say about their professions, please remind them to switch to the next person when the timer goes off. So you will see a start button. You will see the questions that they will ask. And the timer will go off when it's time for the next person, signaling round 2. The next set of activities revolve around team communication. When your students come to the table, please ask them to put their cell phones at the center of the table and on silent. At this point, you'll need them to reach into the center of the table and grab their phone. They are all to send the text message, OUHSC, to this number here. After they've done that, they can put their phones down and complete the paper questionnaire. At the end of the questionnaire, it will tell them you are an A, a B, a C, or a D in terms of social style. They will text just that letter to the number. It will appear on screen as we start hearing from the students, and we'll be able to have a poll of the entire room. You'll have a debrief at the table. It'll start and you'll have 10 minutes, and it will cue you at the end when the time is up. This part the students don't know about. You will be interrupted during that activity. Depending on where you are seated in the room, you may be one of the first people to be interrupted, or you may be one of the last. But a standardized patient named Irene Egan will come into the room. She'll be lost, she'll be confused, she'll be speaking out loud. Don't cue your group. Allow your group to realize she's there and start listening to her. If your group does not notice and continues their own conversation, at that point, do cue them to listen to her. She will provide a story for the room. Should someone at your table feel obliged to get up and help her or do something, please allow them to do that. After she's finished speaking, your group will discuss her situation. You'll have a prompt and you'll have 20 minutes. The prompt will guide you through questions about the situation. What do you suggest? What will you do? You will also have supplemental material to read that will give you more background on the issue she raises. After that 20 minutes, your group will switch from what should we do to how did we do, a team debrief, where you talk about how the team functioned, coming to the decisions they made about the prompt. Did they work together? Did they share information? Did everyone have a chance to be heard? Did everyone feel heard? So at the end of that 30 minutes, 20 minutes of a prompt discussion, 10 minutes of a team debrief, some tables, and you will know in advance, will be called upon to share their responses. You'll have the same timers for the 20 minutes, same timers for the 10-minute debrief. And then facilitators, not you, other facilitators will come around and pass the microphone to those tables. So please, if you are one of the tables who've been selected for the group discussion, decide whether your entire group is going to weigh in or if you were going to have just one person speak for the group. And before you know it, the 2 hours are over and APD is wrapping up. Before it wraps up, we have some very important tasks. Remind your students that they were sent a link to modules on D2L. Many of them will have completed these modules in advance. For those who have not completed the modules, remind them to log in and complete the modules as quickly as possible. Remind them again that All Professions Day is February 28th, 2020. They need to get that on their calendar. Please encourage them to sign up for the extra interprofessional education activities. We believe Fright Night, which is going to be available the week of Halloween, will already be available for a sign-up. Since there are limited numbers who can attend, they should sign up while they're at All Professions Day. These are a listing of the activities they will see advertised on campus, with Fright Night being the one that's coming up most quickly. Students can take their phones again and either capture the QR code that appears on the screen or use their phone to capture the one that's on the handout. The post-test and the evaluation are available at the QR code. Encourage students to complete both of those while sitting at the table if possible. Thank you very much for your time. We appreciate your efforts to join us and spread interprofessional education across campus.